Square same with Zimbabwe. Welcome to our channel, Zim Confessions and Deep Secrets. Kana karike kutanka kukuya paneno channel, please don't forget to subscribe. Kana uchungua garoka subscribe, but don't forget to comment and share this video. Nasimile Zimbabwe taringira nyeri kupisa nyanetsa. Apo ZANU-PF yasia yanetsa yasiambiri Namibia. Mchini mekunge the opposition parties wakutora iyo wachiri the interference ya ZANU-PF mu elections akaitwa ku Namibia hanzi ya tayirutanisha image yayo ni image ya Zimbabwe mu SADC muri Zimbabwe papiwo the ruling party ya ku Namibia yapiwa warning chinzi they are going to pay back what they are doing chinzi one day ZANU-PF is going to take over Namibia Zimbabwe nyayabuditswa na the leader where the affirmative repositioning party yanonzi job amupanda Abuda Strategia Chita Alliance ZANU-PF Neswapo is going to backfire on the country and Swapo itself, whereas Zimbabwe Abuda has addressed the media in audio at Dawins we say chema about this relationship between ZANU-PF and Swapo whereas Zimbabwe it's going to mungonzo za tauro mwabaza zabufunga pamsoro penya ihi mu comment section.
ZANU-PF will side with one faction of the ruling party and it will create a lot of chaos. You see already those factions that are there. So it's easier to enjoy these funny things at our country. We ought to say, all of us, whether you are Swapo, whether you are what, we ought to say that you can even have ZANU-PF people on Twitter, on Facebook and everywhere who are saying, yeah, this is what is happening. The ZANU-PF are the one who are celebrating. Ah, Netumbo is ahead. Swapo people, some of them are quiet. But it's ZANU-PF that is celebrating. Why is ZANU-PF celebrating? So after they printed the ballot, in exchange of that 2.11 million, what do they want in exchange? And we are warning those Swapo people. One day they would remember this warning. That it is fine to think that you have a strategy to rig the election. You think you have a strategy to use ZANU-PF. And even the ECN. You can be there sitting as commissioner. You can be there sitting as CEO. But remember, you have given birth in this country. Remember, you have given birth, you have children in this country. One day you are going to be so old. You are going to be so old, you will not be able to do anything. You are going to be in your 70s, you are going to be in your 90s. And your country is just going to be such a mess. Because it's a seed that you have planted. ZANU-PF is going to integrate themselves in our intelligence system. ZANU-PF is going to integrate themselves in our civil society. ZANU-PF is going to integrate themselves in our business sector. Is going to integrate themselves in all facets of society. And I can guarantee you this. When those factions continue to fight and Swapo loses power, ZANU-PF will run to the nearest available political party. They will run to the nearest available political party. That is why, even in South Africa, ZANU-PF began, when there was those xenophobic attacks, ZANU-PF began supporting certain political parties in South Africa.
Manguzunzira Mega, Zimbabwe, is a the leader where one of the opposition parties in Namibia. So the news works will comment on this issue, but ZANU-PF, Yao Gadzira Zitaragaipa, SADC countries, Nanya interference Yayo, my elections, my neighboring in SADC countries, Zimbabwe, Wakabuda on their ex-handle, hashtag ZANU-PF sets dangerous precedent. Zimbabwe's ruling ZANU-PF's clandestine and sometimes brazen interference in neighboring countries' domestic, political and electoral affairs, particularly in elections, is drawing more critical attention and anger from stakeholders as it openly breaches the people's sovereign will to decide their own destiny through legitimate democratic processes. ZANU-PF's meddling also set a dangerous precedent for the region as it encourages foreign interference and subversion of the people's democratic will in their own countries in electing leaders of their choice. The ZANU-PF ruling party, a former liberation movement, struggling to maintain itself in power amid leadership, policy and governance failures like several others in the region, particularly in South Africa, Mozambique, Angola and Tanzania, often pretends to be fiercely patriotic as suggested by its patriotic front suffix in its name, and that at the core of its guiding philosophy is national sovereignty, when it suits them. ZANU-PF leaders claim unconditional sovereignty of the nation. However, now their party is all over the country, interfering in other countries' domestic issues, trying to save former parties of independence which are currently under siege from the rising opposition. Former liberation movement got a rude awakening when the Botswana Democratic Party, in power for 58 years, was rooted by the opposition umbrella for democratic change, sending former President Masisi crashing out of power, whilst ensuring President Duma Boko's ascendancy recently. Zimbabwean President Emmerson Mnangagwa was distraught after his associate Masisi's defeat. In his capacity as the Southern African Development Community Chair, Mnangagwa recently convened an extraordinary summit to tackle the political and security situation in the region as post-election violence and chaos spiraled in Mozambique. However, Mnangagwa was reined in by regional colleagues, and only the Democratic Republic of Congo situation, a usual feature on the SADC agenda, was discussed. Now Mnangagwa's party is in Namibia trying to help out the ruling SWAPO and its leader Netumbo Nandi Ndaitwa win the current polls. While SWAPO and Nandi Ndaitwa are leading, the elections were marred by controversy amid logistical problems and ballot paper shortages. Opposition parties and leaders say they will not recognize the results of the elections as they were flawed and chaotic. Namibians are up in arms against ZANU-PF interference. ZANU-PF has been poking its nose in local political affairs in Zimbabwe, South Africa, Mozambique, Botswana, and now Namibia. This has worsened frosty relations with some of the countries, especially Zambia, and fueled hostility from locals, particularly Namibians. A ruling party in one country trying to defend like-minded parties in other countries by interfering in their domestic politics and elections is essentially a form of geopolitical influence or meddling. This can be seen as a threat to the sovereignty and democratic processes of those affected countries. Such political actions and maneuvers are often driven by self-preservation instincts, common historical issues, or biological agendas. For instance, ZANU-PF is trying to support similar parties in the region to protect its interests, ensure self-preservation, expand its influence, and secure former liberation movements undergrowing from opposition parties across the region. The opposition has of late won in Seychelles, Zambia, Malawi, Lesotho, Botswana, and Mauritius. This has sent alarm bells ringing across the region, creating more insecurities for parties like ZANU-PF. ZANU-PF's kind of interference takes many different forms, including providing political and financial support, sharing experiences, expertise, and logical capacity, and cooperation on strategy and tactics during campaigns. It also includes the risky backing of opposition parties in other countries in a bid to challenge ruling parties in their respective countries. For instance, Mnangagwa supporting former President Edgar Lungu in Zambia to challenge and remove incumbent President Hakainde Hichilema. Hichilema led the SADC troika of organ on politics, defense and security cooperation to reject ZANU-PF and Mnangagwa election victories in Zimbabwe last year due to illegalities, fraud, and voter suppression, which all amount to rigging. Such meddlesome political actions have significant and far-reaching consequences, including undermining democratic institutions and the people's will, exacerbating political tensions, and even destabilizing countries and fueling regional instability. Affirmative repositioning party leader Job Ampanda says SWAPO's unholy alliance with ZANU-PF will backfire on the country and SWAPO itself. He addressing the media in Windhoek today. Ndo nyaya yakabudidzwa ndi Newsworks Zimbabwe tinaziona kuti mwina si nyaya yetu dzezwa murufunga pamusoro penyaya iyi mu comment section.